This is our nut-free Thai style satay sauce. Now, nut-free because we're using pumpkin seeds instead of peanuts. The reason for that, besides the obvious allergen issue, is that we didn't want it to be gloopy like a lot of other satay sauces are. You know, you pick up a satay sauce from the shops and quite often you'll see the top third of the jar is actually all the oil that's come out of the peanuts. So we wanted to reduce the oil, make it less dense calorifically, and deliver a little bit more of the vitamins in there from the pumpkin seeds. And with that, we've got traditional Thai ingredients, fresh ingredients like galangal, lemongrass, that kind of thing. You know, all fresh. So not using powders here, because that's the only way of actually being able to deliver that real fresh taste as it hits your tongue. You can actually taste that it tastes really, really fresh. It's got kaffir lime in there as well. So you see, we've got again all natural ingredients, no numbers at all. You know, our base there is a coconut, and the coconut itself adds aroma to the sauce. So where other sauces they might use things like flour to bulk it up and water, we've actually got coconut. So it's a cream coconut. Yes, it's more expensive as an ingredient goes, but we think it's worth it, and it's definitely a really popular sauce. Even when I'm doing my stands and people taste it, I never mention that it's nut free until they've tried it, and then when I tell them, or when they notice from the actual jar, they're just blown away, because they would never expect a nut free satay sauce to taste better than the normal satay sauce. And in terms of use, again, put it into your stir fry. If you want something really quick and easy, pop it into stir fry. You know, for two of you, a couple of tablespoons would do. If you were working with meat, you could use it as a marinade, so it goes very well with chicken and pork if you were eating meat. But otherwise, yeah, you know, think green, crunchy vegetables, fine bean, mange tu. You know, if you wanted a colder dish, you can stir it in almost like a pesto into a noodle salad or something. In which case you'd be adding celery and cucumber. So that's our satay sauce.
It's also free from the top 14 common allergens, so okay. There's no sesame in there, no celery, no mustard, things like that.
Yeah, so as you heard, free from top 14. So the reason we say top 14 is because in terms of labelling regulations, there are 14 allergens that need to be declared on food labelling. And they include things like soy and mustard and shellfish, that kind of thing. But this product is actually free from all 14. So no nuts, no soy, no dairy, and it's just, you know, a really fantastic combination of ingredients. So if you're not normally a fan of satay, but you don't mind a little bit of heat, and you do like your Thai flavours, definitely worth trying that, because it may well change your mind, I think. So that's our Yaus satay sauce. This is a hoisin sauce. Hoisin sauce traditionally used as what we call a barbecue sauce in Hong Kong and China. We actually refer to it as a barbecue sauce, so the Chinese name for it means barbecue. But we use it mainly here in the UK. You know, traditionally it's been used for duck pancakes. So a little bit goes on the pancake with your duck, and you spring in your cucumber, that sort of thing on top. But there are a lot of other uses for it, meat and non-meat uses. To use with meat, use it as a marinade. You know, you can put something with pork, especially, it goes very well with, and gamey meats like venison. On the vegetarian side, on the vegan side, goes very well with jackfruit. So jackfruit is quite sort of on vogue at the moment. Very, very popular thing to be using instead of sort of a shredded pork, because it delivers a very similar texture. But you want the flavour as well, so use a hoisin sauce with some jackfruit, you know, cook in the oven, or do a quick pan fry, stir fry with it. And then, you know, obviously the sauce itself is very good. Just 1 or 2 teaspoons popped into the pan, or spread it on a wrap, or you know, have it in your sandwich and layer your ingredients on top. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, just the base of our hoisin. What we
the ingredients. The hoisin is essentially it's a carrier for 5 spices, so it's about delivering those spice flavors into your food without the heat, and for that we use kidney beans. Now traditionally they use other types of beans, sometimes soybeans, but in keeping with ticking all the boxes, we wanted to keep it soy free. So not only is it gluten free, it's actually soy free. A lot of other hoisin sauces will use soy sauce. Other sort of hoisin sauces do tend to be very, very sweet as well. Now when I had the shop, my best selling hoisin product was actually the Leecom Key brand. But when I had a look on the label there and ingredients and nutrition, it turned out it was I think at the time 51% sugar. It was over half sugar, and we thought, well, we've got to do better than that. You know, it doesn't need to be so sweet, because what's happening there is that the sweetness is totally dominating that flavour, and you lose all the other subtle flavours in it. So first thing we did was reduce the sugar. So we've halved that again. And what that has allowed us to do actually is play around with the subtle combinations of the spices that are in there. So although yes, it's a 5 spice, there are actually more than 5 spices in the product. And together they work really well to deliver that really kind of almost smokiness about the flavour, but without all that sweetness. So good if you're wanting to reduce your sugar. You can use as little as 1 teaspoon in your food, and it will make a difference. So you don't need to use very much at all. That's our hoisin sauce. I'll do these together because these are again, these are pastes, Thai green, Thai red. A lot of people ask me when I'm doing the shows, so what's the difference between the green and the red? Is it just the colour? Well, essentially yes, we're using green peppers versus red peppers, green chilies versus red chilies, but they do deliver markedly different flavours. The green tends to be less sweet, has a very subtle bitterness about it that is actually quite appealing. You know, this is my favourite out of all of these. Whilst the red, probably a little bit more versatile, but it has a slight sweetness to it. Now, as you can see, if you've taken a look at our videos on our video page, we used the red to make falafel. You can use it in a curry. You can make tom yum soup from it. You can use it to marinade. You can use, almost like a pesto. Again, this is not so salty that you couldn't just have it neat. Now, a lot of other Thai curry pastes, they are quite salty, and you would probably never use it neat, and you'd always be adding coconut milk to it. But with these, you've got the option. You can add coconut milk to them to create the curry. For every tin of coconut milk, we'd probably need maybe 4 to 5 tablespoons of the paste to create your curry. Is that right, do you think?
No, for a can of coconut milk, which is about 400 milliliter, to create for 4 people, you need about 2 to 3 tablespoons.
Okay, so less than that. So it'll actually go a lot further. We put on the jar here 14 servings, but yeah, I think between 12 and 14 servings, depending on how you use it. Similarly with the green. Use that to make your curry, add coconut milk to it, very similar volume, so what do you say, 2 to 3 tablespoons per can?
Depending how hot you can handle it. So I normally do about 2 tablespoons because my youngest can't really handle the heat. Okay,
yeah, so again, adjust according to your personal preference. But the flavours are all there, so even if you are diluting it down a bit, you'll still get the flavour. And it's a really nice flavour. And that's because we're using fresh ingredients. So
and it's made with love.
Made with love. You heard that straight from the horse's mouth. But again, fresh ingredients: galangal, lemongrass, kaffir lime. Galangal, actually, just to say a word about that, I think is a very underrated ingredient. It's one of those ingredients that not many people necessarily know to use, but when it's not there, you notice that there's something missing. And galangal is often that key ingredient. It delivers a very subtle flavour, so it looks like ginger, but it's not as strong as ginger, but it is key to a lot of Thai recipes. Now, A lot of Thai curries also use fish sauce and shrimp paste. Now, as I said earlier, as we were developing our range, we were trying to tick more and more boxes, and we thought, you know, what if we could make our Thai range completely vegan? You know, do away with the fish sauce, no shrimp paste, see if we can still get those really fresh, strong flavours in there. And this is what we've come up with. So this has actually worked really well for us. This has been specifically formulated to be a vegan Thai curry. And I think as we develop new products, so we've got a matzaman and a yellow curry also on the list, we will be sticking to that sort of vegan and gluten-free aspects of it. Yeah, so is there anything else you wanted to? No? Okay, so we're happy with those. That's the Thai red curry paste and Thai green curry paste. These will freeze very well actually in an ice cube, and the portion size per cube is perfect for one serving. This is the Chinese curry. So we do in a mild and a hot. There's not a huge difference between them, but yeah, obviously one is spicier than the other, and really the main difference is the chili that goes in. So in essence, they're the same recipe, but one has more chili in. Now, the Chinese curry that we know tends to be more the takeaway style curry. It's quite sort of it's like gravy-like, not very spicy at all. But those curries are made with a lot of wheat. Now, typically they use a plain flour, which is bulking up the curry base that has been prepared in advance. Now, when making that curry base, yes, there's a lot of things that go in there. It's reduced down over and over again on the heat. And it actually takes a very long time to make a good Chinese curry. So what we've done, we've done all the hard work. We've got 14 different spices in here. Spices that have been individually prepared, so the whole spices, you know, there's work goes into it to toast them, to grind them down, blend it all together to make a curry powder, and then using that curry powder, we create the sauce by adding coconut water, a bit of vinegar as well to balance out the flavours. And so yes, the main thing is the coconut. Now again, coconut is a more expensive ingredient, but in keeping with the gluten-free nature of our sauces, we think is well worth offering something, you know, something that more people can have access to. The sauce, like any other curry sauce, is great for just adding a little bit of flavour. It's versatile in that you can add a little bit and do a Singapore style dish, which we've done in one of our other cooking videos, or you can have a full-blown curry sauce. It's strong enough that if you wanted to, you could actually water it down. If you want something that's closer to a takeaway consistency, water it down a bit. You know, the flavours are strong enough that it will bear a bit of dilution there. Or you could use it, you know, if you're eating meat, again, very good marinade, good for, you know, marinating meat, putting it on the barbecue. But for vegan applications, yeah, it gives you lots of options. It goes well with root style vegetables, potatoes, carrots, so traditional root vegetables, and then you can just throw in some mushrooms in there, which are really great at absorbing flavour. So, is there anything you wanted to add?
It works well with tofu or tempeh, or lots of those plant-based mock style meat.
Yeah, so meat alternatives. So
yeah.
Again, you know, from a vegan perspective, you can find chicken alternatives and meat alternatives, and yes, it's very good for that. If you were use them in a similar way as you would otherwise with meat in terms of marinating. You can actually marinate some tofu with it and then cook it gently in the pan. So that's our Chinese curry.